You normally don't get that kind of validation or confirmation in
Right.
that period of time. This was literally minutes of what she was like, wow, that was really good. And then for Tom to come in, Tom came in on the last part, the part that I wasn't even putting a lot of emphasis on,
Right.
but it was also the wrap up. And so he came in and he was like, we can do another hour of this. I was like, what? He said we could do an hour of this.
Wow. That's saying a lot, my man.
All right,
Those that don't know, we just sitting here. We're
So,
doing a top story hour with my man Dave B. Rich, aka
so we're gonna drink beer on camera
We
too?
can do whatever we want to do. You want to know why?
Why
It's
that?
our show.
It's our show.
Period.
Period.
Pause.
Pause.
What? It's
I don't
a Diddy
know.
beat.
What do y'all
just
think?
joking.
What do y'all think?
Just
You know, I'm like, I ain't want to drink on camera. You know, should we drink on camera? That's a topic. That's
is.
a topic. You know, should we drink on camera? And by saying no, then
Don't mean
who
we're
is it
going-
that you're really kind of, are you trying to match up with the camera audience, or are you letting
Right.
the audience say, this is who we are,
Yeah.
and we're going to be just authentically us?
Right.
And if it calls to have a beer, we're grown adults. We can have a beer without it
Absolutely.
impeding on the conversation, the topic.
Exactly.
Because how many times have we had conversations just sitting in a bar and really not giving it the leverage that it needs
Right.
for what
Absolutely.
what value you're really talking. I mean, if you're talking, there's a difference between talking and just frivolously talking bullshit.
True.
Or if what
Facts.
you're saying has an impact to what it is that you're even doing with your life.
Right.
If what you're saying has a constructive value that not only you're talking about, but you're
Yeah.
being about it. And if I can do that and have a beer, because I'm saying this because I got a beer coming. All right, so don't feel like I'm not going to have a beer.
And I'm a 20-year Navy veteran, you know what I'm saying? And all that means is nothing, but I enjoyed my time in the Navy, and I did 20 years. And when it was time for me to move on and pass the torch, I did just that. But trust me, along the way, I know what a good beer tastes like. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
You know, but what he said, and I hope that each of y'all disagree with what he said, because I gotta talk about this. I hope as soon as she said it, y'all said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Just a Navy veteran, and it doesn't mean nothing."
Mm. And see, this is why
You hear what I'm saying?
I had big bro in my life. Go ahead.
That, I mean, first of all, how do you say that and then say I did 20? So hold on. The 20 the hard way, but you know there's very,
Yeah.
very, very few of
Mhm.
us that come out that go in.
Facts. Absolutely.
You know, and to be able to, and moreover than now, I will say, and I'm not trying to discount the present moment by
Right.
any stretch of the imagination, say it's easy. When we were going through it was different.
Yeah, very different. Absolutely. I came in right around the tailhook scandal. With the Navy
In
aviators.
the Navy. So
Yeah.
when you say around, before, during, after,
Yeah, it still had an effect, even though I wasn't.
there was
in-
after, but
After
it was
tailhook.
still, but you were experiencing.
But
it.
I was still subjected to the trainings, the cultural sensitivity, the everything that entailed in you know in the blowback from that tailhook scandal.
Yeah.
So that's crazy for a 19-year-old from Baltimore to be stationed in Japan on his first ship. To be like, damn, what the hell is all this? What?
Talk about the tail hook. There's, I'm sure
Oh,
there's
yeah.
folks in the audience. Can you remember what was going on? I know it was.
Tailhook was like literally, from my understanding or my recall, and anybody out there that may see and or hear this, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But in a nutshell, my understanding was that the tailhook scandal came about when there was a whole bunch of naval aviators at like a conference, and literally it sounds like the conference was kind of a scam to get these guys all together so that they can go, you know, and live their frat boy days and solicit
They had all these
prostitutes,
young ladies and everything going on in there.
and go party.
And so What year was that about?
I came in 94, so it had to be 93, 92, 93, 94.
Yeah. And I came in a bit before then.
Okay.
And because of that, some might think that they were acting as though they were college.
Yeah.
However,
Becoming of an officer.
the culture
That
at
part.
the time or even before that,
Yeah.
there was a culture. There was a
Absolutely.
culture. There was a culture. I won't say that it was an approved or it was.
I can tell you it was toxic.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I came in at the tail end of a lot of things where, you know, some of the, you know, the white sailors was, you know, look at somebody, you know, my complexion and say, hey, boy, I'm not from the South. I'm from Baltimore, goddamn Maryland. You don't get to call me boy. I don't care who you are. That's just how I was raised. My dad told me all about those times, and I'm not that. And in doing so, I was like, you know, I used to tell him all the time, I'm like, I would have never survived back then. I wouldn't have made it through the civil rights era. Not me being me and where I was at in that time of my life, maybe now, but not then. So yeah, the boy and, you know, all the other things that came along with that, the derogatories, I would have never survived that era, man. So even this is in 1994. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a real kind of sticky situation because of the fact that at the same time of not tolerating it,
Right.
we also never really attacked back at it either.
True.
You know,
Yeah.
we would. It would have. I mean, I've gotten stopped by the police just for. They pulled me. I was leaving my house going to the park, and they stopped me and wanted to go through all of this rigmarole. And I said, I live right there. I'm
Right.
getting my mother. I'm not going to do this.
Right.
And so I ran home and I got my mom.
Okay.
My mom comes down and said, why are you
Right.
messing with my son? And they said, oh, we thought that he was homeless and had it walking around with his zipper down.
What? Well, what?
And I was going, and I told him I'm going to the park to get my basketball that I left
Right.
the night before. You know, and then they came up with this. We thought, you know, he was homeless. She said, well, listen, my mom literally told them, the boy eats too much anyway, so if you see him out again, let him go. If he's running away, don't bring him back.
Right on.
She said, don't bring him back.
That's
Don't bring him back. You know, but I you can bring that over, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yes, thank you very
Yes.
much. You are the man.
Yeah.
You know,
20 flights up or down and 20
did
flights
the elevators
up.
work? Or
No,
you
not
took
yet.
the step?
No way.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, they.
That's
Come by.
Here we
Wow. That's our co-producer Christian over there, making things happen. So, you know, just for a little bit of reference and frame of mind, for those of you that won't see this but will maybe possibly hear it, we're in the beautiful Dunaway Hotel, a product by Hilton, in beautiful Portland, Oregon. And we're in Portland. Sometimes I gotta pause because we move around so much. I mean, so just a week or so ago was in Orlando. Then the very next, not even the next day, like literally hours after touching down in Orlando, got word that Hurricane Milton was coming in hot and heavy, and the conference that I was there for was canceled. And then, so I spent the next day, Sunday, almost all day, literally 5 hours, trying to get out of there, trying to get flights out. But, you know, me being home base between Hawaii and Phoenix, I was trying to get back to Phoenix. Anybody who knows me, I got two pups. And, you know, I got to schedule care for my guys when I'm on the road. So I was trying to get to Phoenix, and it was 0 direct flights. And it was just like, it's a 3-hour flight from Phoenix to Orlando. It was crazy. And one of the flights even had the audacity to be like, hey, fly from Orlando to San Francisco down to Phoenix. I was like, ain't no way in hell. So luckily, reached out to one of my business partners, I say, hey, what you got going on in the Pacific Northwest or West Coast, or hey, what you got going on, period? He's like, well, I'm going to be doing an assessment here, blah, blah, blah. We can use X, Y, Z. So instead of trying to continue to fight to get back home to Portland, especially when I had the whole week blocked out with a dog and house sitter, I ended up on the West Coast and Pacific Northwest in Seattle. So was there for 3 or 4 days, and then back to Phoenix. Was literally home for 48 hours for my dogs to recognize my face again, and was back on the plane here at 6 in the morning, coming from Phoenix to Portland. So this is just to give you guys a frame of reference, like. So when I'm like, yeah, we're in beautiful Portland, it's like, hold up, are we? Making sure. Because I told one of my friends, like, hey, when we was up in Seattle, or up north anyway, at least Washington State, let me rephrase. He's in Vancouver.
Okay.
And being up in Marysville, up that far north, he was trying to, connect one of my buddies that I used to ride with in Hawaii. We just didn't have the time to make it happen. He had to work. And I tell people, when I come through your city or town, I get it. Your life is your life. If you have time, cool. If not, it's another time. I don't expect anyone.
Don't do out the way. If it gels, it gels.
Exactly. And then I was like, yeah, don't worry about it, man. I'll be back in next week. I'll be in Seattle. So I don't come to the Pacific Northwest that often. So sometimes I misspeak, and I'm like, Seattle and Portland, and it's all the same to me. And it's like, oh damn, I'm actually not in Washington.
Not really a whole other state.
But it's all good, man. We get a good laugh out of it. But yeah, so if you hear me pause, like, hey, is that where we are? And it's kind of like a real thing, like let's do a fact check. Like,
let's do a fact check. Where are we right now?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the beer, But yeah, so back to what we was talking about.
No doubt. I think we should kind of, since we're talking about what brought us here, the journey that it took for him to get here, the journey that it took for Christian to get here, our co-producer over there, and the journey that it's taken for me to get here. It could be either a very short trip where you talk about I was in Florida here and here, but the journey goes back some way, to be honest. I mean, the journey really goes back some ways, and with a lot of intentional activity, a lot of intentional thought of really just creating the things that you want to have, and we're moving into it. And it's a great feeling, because for this podcast in itself, that journey started through a conversation, a phone conversation, and one thing and one thought and one action leading to another brought us to a point to where we knew that whenever we do communicate, let's record this and share this, because the fact of the matter is, when you start to manifest the things you want in your life, it should happen extremely naturally. It shouldn't be some fixes that just, I put this here and I did all, I just flowed. And so as we were talking about flowing and just staying in a constant rhythm with the universe in general, it came to the thing was, from a metaphoric standpoint of driving, we started talking about our own experiences in Germany on what's called the Autobahn.
Yes, sir.
And how when you're on the Autobahn, you flow. And you step on the gas and there's no speed limit.
All gas, no brakes. Let's get it.
All gas, no brake. All gas, no brake. And you just go. And so a lot of things have to come into perspective, because when you're going at those speeds, it requires a certain amount of focus.
Absolutely.
You can't just go driving down recklessly like you aren't attentive to the road. Now, if you want to sightsee, the Autobahn lane ain't the lane to be in.
Absolutely not.
But if you want to flow, if you want to start going after the things, and so as we started to come up with this through this conversation and how it just really gelled into a realistic aspect of how do we accomplish the things that we want in our lives, we came up with this concept of, one, creating a podcast that can invite people to talk about how they have flowed through life.
Yeah.
Some of those successes, because success leaves clues, number one, and number two, a lot of us don't even realize that we have utilized these tools to be successful in certain areas because we don't give our own capability of manifesting the credit that it deserves.
True.
We're not acknowledging that. And so from us doing this podcast, what we want to do is, one of the important aspects of achieving things is by realizing that you've made it happen, because once you can start putting that into effect, then you learn how to harness that power, as opposed to thinking it's something that just so happened by happenstance.
Yeah.
It's really intentional.
Absolutely.
You know, and so when we talk about the journey that has taken us to get to where we are right now, this is a business trip.
Absolutely.
We are currently on a business trip that has allowed us to affect and take our skills, our talent, and our passion to help others to do the same. To help others to manifest the things they want in their life, help others to navigate the space that they're taking up, help others to transition their thought of what I am doing and what I should be doing or what I can do, really creating an opportunity. So us being here right now in Portland, Oregon, me coming from Hawaii over here, is because of a journey of connection and understanding the importance of relationships and building relationships. Even in times, you know, people don't care about you until they have some struggles in their life, and if you show up in the time of their struggle, like you've,
what was it the other day? What have you done for me lately?
What have you done for me lately, man? I mean, you know,
unfortunately,
just what I'm not giving any specifics of anything, because I think once you start giving specifics, then people hone in on just that situation. But the reality is, we've all experienced, how are you showing up in someone's life that's going through a struggle or a stress? You know, what are you creating in your mind that may have caused this, and how can you make it create a value for each of you?
Right. And you know, it goes back to saying, you know, we've all heard it, you know, but you can help others get what they want, you in turn will get what you want. And it's not a do for, you know, a tit for tat. It's nothing like that.
Right.
It's just the way you need to kind of move about and handle and conduct your business. Do good things amongst others, and good things that happen, you know, in your life. But back to like what you just said, like living with intention, dude. It's no mistake that we're here at the same time, intersecting and crossing paths and doing what we're doing right now. There's a reason why we was allowed the opportunity to get in front of these executives this week, you know. So somebody obviously sees the value of what it is we have to say, and they literally bought in with it because they flew us out here, they paid us to be here. And it's been the best experience. Like, going into the fourth quarter of the year, the business year, the last quarter of the year, it's all gas, no brakes, like the auto
Gas,
bus.
no brakes.
This is where a lot of people start to trail off or fall off. And it's like, nah, bro. Because if you're not keeping that steady consistency now for your business, for yourself, or for the people around you, then what's the point? You know, I get it. There's days that you need to take off. There's days you need for your recovery. You can't go to the gym every day and lift 500 pounds. Your body can't sustain that, you know. But at the same time, it's just like, now's really kind of not the time to like sit back and let things idle or throttle. It's like, now's the time to go get it, because you know why? Because this time of year, especially as we go into the holidays, is where probably 90% of the other people that think they're in the same lane as we are, and they're not trying to be funny. Because I created my own lane, so there's nobody in it. Not even you, not Christian, nobody. I can't worry about what you guys are doing. You guys are doing yourself. I know what I want to do, so I created my lane in order for me to do that. But at the same time, this is where a lot of people start to fall back, trail off, do whatever, which means there's a lot of people out there that need our services, that want our services. Maybe if they're not even ready to, put pen to paper today, they're ready to engage in the conversation so that we can properly set them up for 2025. Because if you did the same shit in 2024 and you carry it over to 2025 and expecting different results, well, we all know that's not going to happen.
I'm gonna tell you something critical about what you're saying is the fact that so many of us had goals at the beginning of the year.
Facts.
And when you get to this point in the year, you have to evaluate whether or not you've accomplished those goals.
Sure.
And a lot of people say, well, I didn't, and so I'll wait till next year, where the real strength comes into understanding the year ain't over yet.
That part.
The year's not done yet.
Oof.
And so now, because you're reevaluating and recommitting to that, this is where you gotta all gas, no break.
Yes, sir.
This is all gas, no break time. Because you've committed to what it is that you said you're gonna do. So many people make these New Year's resolutions or commitments or set goals or whatever they want to call it, and they don't last. They don't last. And then they give themselves permission, and even if you get to this point, I mean, I literally have goals that have not gotten accomplished yet, but I am all gas, no brakes still.
Yes, sir.
Because I've got 2 more months.
Right.
It's not like, well, I've gone this long and it hasn't happened.
Right.
Guess what? There's a big shift. You've all heard of what's my man's name? That ran the 100-yard dash in less than less than 7 seconds. Oh man, what's his name? Do you know this?
Usain?
No. This
talking about US?
Before. No, this was long before he first got to run a 100-yard dash in less than 4 seconds. What's his name? But the thing is, and I get the story, and I have no idea. It is the beer. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's the beer. It's the beer. All right. Because this is a major story that most of you probably have heard already, and I can't realize. I don't know why I can't remember the name. I'm gonna come back to it because I don't even want to tell you the story until I get my man's name right.
Right.
But it'll come back, trust me. But the fact of the matter is that there's still a year left, and if by even committing to commit to that, there's still a year left, and I should not give up on my goal.
Right.
Brings you into 25 with some momentum.
That part.
But by you not
things
even
that stay in motion, that are in motion,
stay in motion.
Yeah, man.
And the fact is that if you can sit back and say you gave your all year,
Right.
then I can give myself a break. But if you haven't given your all on these
That
certain
part.
goals,
And you know what? That comes down to a point of contention where a lot of people aren't able to be honest with themselves. They continue to look in the mirror and be like, man, it's holding me back. Ain't no opportunities out here. I can't do this, that, and the other. And it's self-sabotage. And it's like, you know what? Stop whining. Because you know what? There's nothing to be gained in your comfort zone. And then you know what? Suffer in fucking silence, bro. Go through the pain to get to the glory. That's the only way it works. Because trust me, I've had a lot of sleepless nights. I got a ton of equipment. I got tons of software. I got tons of everything. But I don't have tons of time. I got the same amount of time as everybody else in the world. And it's frustrating. It's aggravating. And sometimes it's literally like, it beats you down because it's like, damn, I can do so much.
What's frustrating and what's...
No, because I can offer people so much. But I only have so many hours in the day. I can't talk to everybody. I can't touch everybody. I can't respond to every email in 24 hours. And that bothers me. And then I go out here and people's like, hey, I want to work. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then I give them a chance. And then you know what happens? They don't show up. Not only do they not show up for me, more importantly, they don't show up for themselves. You feel me?
Well,
so just today is we got a couple more hours, about an hour left, and today is Wednesday. So I sent the shout this morning and say, hey, good morning. top of the morning. Hey, it's the midweek check-in. What's working, what's not working, make adjustments. Because people need to understand that just because you set your path in motion or you set something in motion, if it starts to drift off course, you gotta recalibrate, you gotta re-target, you gotta get back to where you need to be. And only you know that. And I can't want success more for you than you want it for yourself. And I had the hardest time in the military with some of my supervisors because I'm like, hey, I'm giving these guys the tools. They're choosing not to utilize the tools. And I finally just said, I had enough. I'm like, look, I can't want this more for this man or this woman than they want it for themselves. If they don't want it, I can't force it on them.
And that's not
And
the
that's
role.
not even in the military.
That's not the responsibility for
Exactly.
You know,
My job is to train, lead, and cultivate. And there's just some people that's just like, hey man, look, leave me on fries. I'm cool over here. I love it over here. And you know what? I'll tell anybody to their face, there's nothing wrong with that. If you like it, I love it. Because if that's your lane, that's your lane.
and then let them do that
Let them
because
do
they
them.
will do it well.
That
they
part.
will do it well.
That
when you
part.
start forcing people into areas that
Right.
they aren't
Bad things
comfortable
happen.
with, bad
And you know
things
what?
are gonna happen.
I'm gonna talk on this. I had one of the worst experiences with my last ship in the military, out of my 20-year Navy career, and the executive officer, which is the second in command at the time, was this young, preppy, golden child. I almost said some other stuff, but I can't do that. And the fact of the matter was, he was a schmoozer. He was a mover and shaker and, smile and whatever you want to call it. But he didn't know his job. He was constantly like off track. And on a naval ship, if you're off track, if you're off course, you're costing the U.S. government money because fuel isn't cheap. So if we're supposed to be tracking this heading, but we're 30 knots or 30 off course. Bro, what you doing? When the captain comes on bridge, like, hey, when the captain comes on the bridge, you gonna hear captain on bridge. Hey, where are we at? What's our course? What's our heading? What's our speed? He wants to know certain things because more times than not, they navigated these waters before, and they're gonna know like, why the hell are we over here? And if the XO's on the bridge, means the XO's in charge. And this particular clown, the bottom line is he got fast tracked. He got promoted. Him and I didn't see eye to eye at all. He was about to take command of his first ship because he was a part of this program where he would be the captain of a ship.
Wow.
Before 15 years in the military. By the time him and I crossed paths, I had about 16, 17 years in the military. He might have had 10, 11, 12,
Wow.
maybe.
Wow.
So, yeah, I had a lot more days on, as we say in the Navy, I got more time on the shitter than you got in the Navy. Period. And unfortunately, he got promoted because he said all the right things and he kissed the right ass. And his evaluation said, yeah, this guy's ready for command. And fast track a few years later, he got command of a warship, and he's literally responsible because in the Navy, as the captain of the ship,
You're responsible for
he's
every soul on
ultimately
board.
everything. He's
Everything.
literally responsible for one of the biggest naval mishaps in history outside of a combat zone. 7 sailors lost their lives because this asshole got promoted, and he shouldn't have been. But you know what he was able to do? He was able to kill my career at 13 years. But hey, these are the things that, I don't mind talking about. Every now and then I just pop on his LinkedIn page. You want to know why? Because when you go to somebody's LinkedIn profile, they can see who viewed it. And eventually I'm going to send them a like, you still alive? So I'm just joking. All right, hey, we're not going to go in a dark place, but anyway, we're going to keep it moving. I'm going to cut that out. Don't worry. All right.
It's the beer.
But you know what?
It's the beer.
It's not the beer. It's more so to the fact that these are the people that end up in positions of power, and they abuse it, and they fuck people over. And I'm gonna cut all this out. And it's not right, man. And eventually, and this is why my podcast I took offline, because this is the shit I like to talk about. But anyway,
And so,
cut.
but that no.
Action.
The thing is,
Yeah.
talk real. It's real talk. It's
It
things
is.
that
But there's a
people
time
have
and place.
experiences and
You're saying
everything
that.
like that. There's and you know, is he still in the Navy?
No. After that mishap, he got kicked. He should have went
So
to
he
jail.
got kicked out.
He should have went to jail though.
But
That's
how
my
did
thing.
he? I mean, you've already gone down the hole. So how did he ruin your career? How did his mishaps affect you?
Oh, because he was in charge of my evaluation. So in the military, you gotta understand this.
But
And
where did
hold
he?
on, I'm about to tell you. So I went from number 1 in my pay grade in the entire command, on the entire ship.
What's
What?
that mean?
So that means I was, so let's say it's 3 of us in the room. It's you, it's me, and Christian, right? So it's 3 of us in here. We all the same pay grade. One of us has to be ranked number 1.
Higher than you. Okay, that's fine.
So 1, 2, 3 order.
Okay, so you're number 1.
So I'm number
Next
1.
to who on this ship that he was
It doesn't matter.
responsible
I'm
for?
number 1 in my pay grade. Nobody's above me.
Okay, so we're going
So
pay
if
grade.
it's even 20 people, that's
So when
the
you say
same
pay grade,
right.
is that equivalent to a responsibility level of the ship? Because
Yes
you
and
can be
no.
an engineer
Yes and
and
no.
be number 1 in the engineer.
So here's the thing.
But what does that
But
have
here's
to
the thing.
do with where the ship is off course?
So how the Navy works is this. You can, like you said, you can be in the engine room. You can be in the kitchen. I can be in the executive department, which is where I ran. It doesn't matter where you are.
Okay, so
It's
your
based
rank
on
is 1.
pay grade.
Okay, so you're number 1.
I'm number 1.
Okay, so
out of
go
all
from-
of my all
so
of
you're
my
the one,
peers.
You're the first person he comes to. When
No.
anybody comes-
It's not the first person he comes to. For ranking purposes, at my pay grade and at my level, I'm the number 1 in
So I'm
my.
trying to figure out. So
So I'm
what?
gonna explain.
Yeah. So what does that?
So for the next level to be promoted, when it goes to the board, the first thing the board is going to see is like, oh, this guy's in a leadership position. This guy's
You're
in
number
the seat
one.
billet, and he's number 1 out of 10 other people in his entire command, in his same rank.
Okay.
So I'm the best. I'm basically the best. Period.
Exactly. So how could one write up?
So the next year, that's under. Mind you, I say he's an XO. I mean, he was second in command at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he first got there, and I got my evaluation. I'm number 1, which means there's a
You're a
captain above
badass,
him.
and there's a good.
But then another rating cycle comes around, full circle, 1 year later, and I dropped from number 1 to number 4 or 5 or some shit, without
Okay.
any disciplinary, no write-ups, no disciplinary, no nothing.
So what do you attest that to?
I test that plain and simple too. He didn't like me. I didn't like him. And it was known.
Okay.
And there's no other way around. I mean, there's
Right.
no other justification for it.
Mhm,
It's one thing
mhm,
if
mhm.
within that year I get in trouble. I go to Captain's Master, NJP,
Right,
office
right.
hours, or whatever you guys call it, so you can understand what I'm saying. But it wasn't like that. I maintained everything as if it was the previous year. However, him and I,
Y'all just
Used
didn't get
to.
along.
we
So
did, because
what did-
there was
How
times
did y'all communicate? I mean, you were
Very,
you,
very-
were you not respectful of
very-
his rank?
I was. However, there was times when it's like, hey, let's step in here. I'm gonna come in your office because I'm gonna tell you what's happening, bro. So understand this: the navigators worked under me,
Uh-huh.
the quartermasters. That's who tracks the course of the ship. That's who knows what's going on at all times and where the ship needs to be, where it's supposed to be, and how we're gonna get there. They work
Correct.
for me.
Correct.
And understand, I set all of those guys for success. Meaning, like, if we're not out to sea and we're in home port, if there's a school that they want to go to, or if there's some training that they
You're
want,
taking care of your folks.
I sent them to it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed
Mhm.
to train these guys so they can promote. He didn't like that, and they knew it. I mean, I gotta tell anybody these days, the kids or the younger people these days in this day and age are way smarter than we were. They see things, they pick up on stuff. Whereas though when I was a kid, I was oblivious to a lot of things. And I can
Well,
honestly say that.
yeah, but the
Looking
thing
back, like,
is,
well, damn.
becoming number one in the first place.
So to
you
go
knew
from
your
one
way
to
into a lot of
5,
shit because you
so-
became a 1,
Here's the thing.
so you knew your shit.
At that part. So understand this also. So in the Navy, from E1 to E6 is basically a self-promotion. So from E1 to E2 is just a matter of time.
Right.
9 months. Then from E2 to E3,